Yes. Well, how are you?
Good.
Good. I'm Irene De Jesus,
And I'm Hector De Jesus.
and it is almost the weekend. Okay, sorry, I went off script a little bit. We are the De Jesus Law Group.
Yep. And what is it?
Oh, it's the noon show
Because it's noon somewhere in the
somewhere.
world.
Why do you always look at me to say it's the noon show?
Because then it tees me up to do.
Oh, it tees you up. Okay. Yes, you can tell we're married. Also, speaking of that, next month it's our wedding anniversary.
Yeah.
29 years.
hmm
Ooh, sweet. All right, so I went way off the agenda. Can you do our disclaimer
Yes.
before we go any farther into this?
We
rabbit
are
hole?
attorneys. However, we're not necessarily your attorneys, but that can be remedied by a phone call. Just reach out to us and see if you want to work with us. But other than that, this is educational and informational purposes only.
You have gotten really good at that.
Yeah.
Yeah, even with me throwing these like curveballs. So we're good. Yeah.
hmm
All right. So this is the month of love. It's February.
hmm
Before we jump into what we're talking about today, what do we got going on?
Well, we've got Ladies' Night in the Pioneer Chiropractic Clinic, and I
Oh,
believe that is next Friday.
yep, that's next Friday. Dr.
Although our cue
Ariel.
card says February 9th, which was,
No, that was, yeah, so it's February 19th. However, Dr. Ariel and Dr. West, they are our personal chiropractic physicians, and
Mhm.
they're amazing, the work that they do with us. I feel like they're going to have more work to do with us now that we've started hashtag 75 hard,
hmm
because we're exercising twice a day. Twice. I didn't even know that was possible. I
Mm.
actually didn't know people did that, like sane, normal people exercise twice a day.
hmm
And it's turned out to be really good. I actually really like it.
Yay.
Yay. Anyway, so next Friday, Dr. Ariel and Dr. West, their location's in New Smyrna Beach. It's on Highway 44,
hmm
right by the, what is it, Verizon?
Sprint, I believe.
Sprint, maybe it's Sprint, but it's right by the Winn-Dixie right there. Isn't it Winn-Dixie? Yeah. Right there on the plaza. It's they're going to be doing a ladies' night in, and they're going to have different vendors there. We'll be there, so we'll be socially distanced, we'll be safe, we'll be wearing our masks, doing all that stuff. But there to answer any questions that you have about estate or business planning. So excited about that. Also, we've gotten right near there, Norwoods. We've
hmm
also got our February special going on for the month of love, and that is if you book a family wealth planning session in the month of February, we will give you a $50 gift certificate to the restaurant. So we have several of those that we actually need to give out already for this
Yeah.
month. That's pretty exciting. What else is going on? Anything? What is a family wealth planning session?
Family wealth planning session is an opportunity to sit down with either Irene or myself, or both if you'd like. And really, it's just to go over, understand the options that you have in estate planning.
Yep.
What does a will do? What does a trust do? What gaps do you have? What is it that you want to have happen? And then we just walk through all of that, and it's really customized to the individual family member.
Which I think is a really good segue into what we're talking about
Mhm.
today. And so we're talking about, really what is the ultimate act of love? And there's four main points.
hmm
So what's the first one?
You take the guesswork out of what your family thinks you may want.
Right, exactly. So part of what Hector was just talking about is that I think what we do is kind of unique and different. And that's where we do get together with folks, no charge, do a little bit of homework, and we'll spend up to 2 hours with you going over your data, your information, and really walking you through what would happen if you became incapacitated or you died.
hmm
So, what would happen to your family? What would happen to your assets? What does it look for your beneficiaries and your heirs? What are the tax laws? What are the different things that you really should think about as you're doing this planning? And it really does take all the guesswork out, right?
hmm Yeah, and it keeps the family from, having to make decisions that may alienate other members of the family. And
Yep.
a classic example is a case that I worked on where a lady was 89 years old, had had a stroke, And we sat down and did her planning, and it was unique because she wanted her children there. And it was great talking about her wishes. If she were incapacitated, what would she want, or would she want to be kept alive mechanically or and such? And some of the kids wanted that, mom didn't, and some of the kids understood. So it was great to be able to walk and talk through that. Otherwise, you'd be left in that situation with mom on a ventilator and kids fighting, and
Yes.
it causes discord.
And I will tell you that it's probably something that might not be easy for you and your family to talk about, right? You're talking through what does it look like if these things happen.
Right.
And that reminds me of a family I'm working with right now. It's the dad. He's in his 80s, and the daughter, she's younger, but she called me and said, you know what? I don't think my dad's done any planning, and I want to make sure that if something happens to him, that I don't have this massive mess I have to clean up. And so she ended up talking with her dad, and dad, you know what dad said? Dad said, it's about time we have this conversation. So that kind of shocked her. She thought this was going to be a difficult subject to broach, and it turns out he was just waiting. He was waiting for her to hit this. So I think it's pretty cool. What's the second thing that we should really talk about?
Well, lack of planning could cause a major burden. And that kind of goes hand in hand with, well, it touches on the first thing, but it also brings to light the lack of planning. And I see that in elder law. If you don't plan for a time where there's maybe incapacity or the need to go into long-term care, and you don't have the right documentation in place, it makes it hard for the son, daughter, spouse to have to deal with, trying to find care or qualify for care.
At that point, you and I, we've had our own experiences in life, and we say from a place of experience, planning in the middle of a crisis is probably not the best time to do that. It's hard to really focus when something's happening. It tends to be way more expensive and costly, and it's just really difficult to navigate. So we always recommend plan before you need to. Really good example of that too. I have a family of mine that I'm working with. They've put all of their plans in place. They've taken care of everything. And now the son has been able to relay to me how comforting it is knowing that everything's taken care of for dad. So the hospitalizations, everything that's happening, dad not doing well, they've got these plans in place, and it just gives them the peace of mind while they're in the middle of this crisis. So it's really because they need the durable power of attorney. They need the healthcare directives. And when do you get those done? You get them done before you need them, right?
Yeah.
So excellent. So what's the third thing of the ultimate act of love?
Nothing will get lost.
Ooh, yes. So Florida, just like all the states across our amazing country, have this thing called the Department of Unclaimed Property. And currently in Florida, there is 1.2 billion with a B, $billion that is sitting in that department because your loved ones don't know that you have some assets and something's happened to you, and there it sits. There it sits.
Another part from getting lost is your digital access.
Ooh, yeah.
It's your digital assets. And what
Especially
does that
in
mean?
This age of technology, right?
Yep. And that's all your social media communication, emails,
Bitcoin.
Online password, Bitcoin.
I am amazed at how many of our clients are dabbling into Bitcoin.
Yeah. Yep.
Wow.
So all that stuff is lost if
Yes.
if you're not able to access it or as a personal representative or a trustee.
Right.
So it's important to make sure that you have language built into your plan that covers digital assets.
Because that could be like a significant portion of your assets, right? And you've got to make sure that that's covered. All right, number 4. What's the fourth thing?
It's likely one of the most significant financial gifts that you'll leave them, your
Yeah.
family.
What do you mean by that?
Well, when you start adding your estate's net worth, it adds up.
Oh
So,
man, people don't realize how quickly it adds up, right?
yep.
Between your house and then maybe any checkings and savings accounts that you have, maybe any brokerage accounts that
Mhm.
you might have that just been sitting there, any life insurance policies that you may have, and then any retirement accounts that you might
Mhm.
have. That adds up.
Well, and not only just adding up, but also in how are you distributing that?
Right.
And if it's a bank account, is it going to the right person? If you're doing a transfer on death, a TOD or a POD, pay on death. Um,
Hmm.
those are things that when you sit down and do estate planning, you really need to look at it, and you don't look at it once. You
No.
look at it constantly, at least every year. You want to make sure, are there any changes to the person I name? Are they still the right person that I want to get, as a beneficiary?
And when they do ultimately do inherit, do you want them to get that asset or
Mm-hmm.
those monies all up front, all at once? Is that really, and you'll know because it's your family, it's your heirs, right? It's
Mm-hmm.
your beneficiaries, but is that the right thing for them? Is to get all that money at once, up front, with no protection,
Right.
right?
Yeah, and life changes, life happens. You can
Mm-hmm.
have someone that you name, and 10 years from now they're in a car accident and they're
Yeah.
paralyzed and they're getting government assistance, and then
Right.
you pass and all of a sudden now they get this money and it kicks them
Oh,
out of that. And
oh,
so there are
so
ways
they
of
lose their,
doing
when
things.
Hector says it kicks them out of that, what happens? This is a really big deal because if they are special needs and they're
Mhm.
getting government benefits for that, and then all of a sudden some well meaning aunt, uncle, parent, sibling, whoever passes away and they've left money to this person who's getting government benefits, they'll lose them.
Yeah.
If there's not a special needs trust in place and ready to go.
Yeah, so it's just important to, when you're planning, build in
Build these
stuff
things in.
so that if something like that were to happen,
Yep. They're
they're
protected.
protected. Yeah.
Absolutely. So, Hector, real quickly, what's the 4 things we talked about in the ultimate act of love?
That you take the guesswork out of protecting your loved ones, that a lack of planning would cause undue burden.
Yep.
You don't want things to get lost, and you want to make sure that it's one of those substantial financial things that you can leave someone, that it's going to be protected.
Exactly. So, I hope you guys enjoyed this session today. It was fun getting to talk with you. Just as a reminder, Norwoods, this is the month of love,
Mm-hmm.
so we are giving a $50 gift certificate to the Norwoods restaurant in New Smyrna Beach. Phenomenal. Love that place. Giving that away next Friday. Next Friday, we will be at the Pioneer Chiropractic
Mm-hmm.
there in New Smyrna Beach off of 44 with Dr. West and Dr. Ariel. Would love to see you there and answer any questions that you might have on estate or business planning.
Yep, and if you have any questions, you're always welcome to do a 15-minute consult with us.
Absolutely.
And Wynn will have that information
so
on
Wynn's our producer. She's amazing. She'll have the link for that in the chat box. If you've got any questions, please reach out to us. We'd love to talk with you. We're in the middle of right now we're on day 3 of doing 75 hard. Loving it. Why are we doing this? What do you mean you don't know? We're doing it because our business, this is a year of growth and expansion for our law firm. And we know that it's going to take mental fortitude to do that, to achieve the goals that we have by the end of the year. So we want to be in peak physical condition.
Mm-hmm.
So I hope that you'll be also watching our journey as we go through that. So with that, we want you all to have a wonderful and amazing weekend. Happy Valentine's Day early. And yeah, with that, we're signing off.
Go
Bye.
Cubs.